I have shared my screen. Yes, I hope it is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, is getting open. Now it is visible, sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. All right. In previous class, we have discussed something about bureaucracy, and then we have seen the definition. What exactly do we mean by bureaucracy? Right? In which again we try to understand the importance of organizational structures in the sense the way bureaucracy functions. We have to check what is the structure, what is the hierarchy, what are the rankings in bureaucracy. We have seen that. We also try to understand certain rules and regulations which are followed in the bureaucracy, and how impersonal authority is followed over here. Then division of labor is also seen, right? And so on. So we are going to move to the next slide. Just 1 minute. Yes, fine. I hope now it is visible to all of you perfectly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we will move to the point. Realism, liberalism. Yeah. So we have covered till here liberalism in international relations. Okay, where we tried to discuss or we compared these two ideas. One was realism and the other one was liberalism. Okay, and we have also compared these two, you can say, ideologies in international relations context. Okay, what exactly do we mean by neoliberalism? We have seen that as well, that how they concentrate on economic aspects, how they advocate for the free market economy and free trade, right? Their emphasis on minimal state intervention. We have seen that liberals believe that state does not have any business in the sense market. Okay, again they favor privatization and deregulation, so that government's intervention in the market will be minimized. Okay, that was the part of it. Again, we discussed about few, we can say, ideas which promote democracy in liberalism. So in a way, we can say that if you compare all those we can say political regimes, so democracy was favored by liberalism. Again, they supported for international institutions such as United Nations, correct? Then multilateral diplomacy was also adopted. Pre-market capitalism, it was also one of the crucial idea. Globalization is yet another idea, and the impact of economic development. Okay, yeah, I think all are admitted in time. Fine. So what we'll do now is we'll take the further discussion, and that is about Marxist ideology. Karl Marx. We have tried to understand Karl Marx in one of the previous uh, session. Just again for your revision, I will revise it just in few minutes, and then we will come to the Marxist idea in international context. Okay. So first of all, we have to understand what exactly do we mean by Marxism. Marxism is nothing but an ideology which is evolved or which is developed by one of the influential political and social and economic thinker called as Karl Marx. Okay, Karl Marx is one of the core influential thinker in the realm of political science. We study Karl Marx in economics also. We study Karl Marx in sociology as well, because his discourse was multidimensional, and because of that, we discuss Karl Marx in multiple disciplines, multiple subjects. So, what exactly he was trying to tell us? His theory was all about the uh, class struggle. Okay, what he concentrated on is class struggle, wherein he defined two classes, saying that in every society you have two classes, one is bourgeoisie and the other one is proletariat. In simple understanding, you can understand by these terms, bourgeoisie is nothing but capitalist or rich class who holds all the means of productions. Okay. On the other hand, you have proletariat, which means working class or labor class. Okay. So these are the two different classes. And Marx believed that in every society we find these two classes. To large extent, this is true also. However, there are certain middle classes as well, which is ignored by Marx in his original theories. But of course, two classes exist, that is, rich class and poor class. And Marx believed that rich class is always engaged in exploitation of the working class, right? He believed that whatever labor and working class is there, that is exploited by the rich classes. And for that, he gave various theories. For instance, uh, surplus value theory. Okay, in surplus value, he tried to make us understand that how a rich class has been earning more and more, right, by leveraging the benefits or the efforts of working class. In short, he was saying that rich people always earn money on the efforts of poor people. Okay, that was our working class in a way. So that was his contention. And he says that the state, or simply for your understanding, the government is intentionally developed by the rich class to manipulate and control the working class in a systematic way. Okay, that's the idea of Marx. And he believed that the government which is there in power, or political parties which are there in power, they are belonging to the rich class. And to some extent, if you look at the fundings to these political parties, you will come to know that the big giant companies or the big industrialists or the capitalists, they control or influence these political parties in a way, because eventually they need funding for it, and these fundings are provided by the capitalist classes. Okay, so that's the core idea of Marxism. Now, with the same line, let us move and link this idea to the international relations. Okay, he talks about historical materialism and its impact on global dynamics. Historical materialism, we have looked into it as well in the previous class, but again we'll take it in, or we will understand in a minute. Historical materialism, when Marx is talking about this idea, he simply means to say that there are, you can say, always clash between ideas and there is always clash between materialistic things as well. Okay. For instance, you can understand by these examples. When it comes to historical materialism, you have to understand that the idea which is given by Hegel, to which we also call dialectical idealism, wherein one idea is claiming always to be correct. Okay, let us assume capitalism. Okay, capitalistic economic policy. So capitalism is saying that everything is fine in capitalism, and this is the best model of development for any country. On the other hand, socialism is also there, socialistic economic model, and socialism also claim that we are perfect and no one else other than us. Okay, we think about the entire society, we think about the downtrodden section of the society. Therefore, we are the most advanced and most uh, perfect model for economic development, right? That is the core idea. But on the other hand, if you compare these two and try to understand whether capitalism is best or socialism is best, and you will come to know that both of these ideologies are having certain positive impacts and certain negative impacts as well. So both the qualities are there. Capitalism is good also, and to some extent bad also, right? On the other hand, socialism is also good, and to some extent it is not so good. So what we can conclude, that none of them is perfect. However, both are good enough, but not absolutely good. So what shall be done when these two ideas will clash against each other? So whatever good is there in capitalism and whatever good is there in socialism, just extract these two ideas from these two ideologies and just merge them together, and this new idea will be developed. Okay, so capitalism is one idea, socialism is second idea, and when they clash against each other, they give birth to the third idea called as synthesis. Okay, here the first idea will be known as thesis, second idea antithesis, and third idea is synthesis, because third idea is the most advanced and better form, because it is combination of both idea A and idea B, right? Thesis and antithesis. And not only that, when the synthesis is formed, again after few days or few months or years, this synthesis will become thesis again. One more idea will oppose this idea as well, that will be known as antithesis. Again these two ideas will clash together against each other, and new idea will be developed, that will be called as synthesis. So again new idea will evolve. So in a way, these, we can say, ideas will keep on arising, new and new ideas will be there in the system, and this journey will continue till the Marxist society or Marxism is realized. Okay, and that's what here we have to understand. Class struggle is, we can say, one of the driving force in international politics. Right, class struggle, Karl Marx says, or even we can say the neo-Marxist says, that the international relations is driven by class struggle. Okay, class struggle is always there. And what this class struggle does, this class struggle sometimes is seen at domestic level, and many times it is seen in international relations as well. Whatever relations you see in at domestic level, again you have two classes: rich class and poor class, capitalist and working class. But on international level, you do not have the citizens over here directly, but states. So here you have developed states and underdeveloped states. Right? Developed countries and underdeveloped countries. Fine. So what they do here in developed and underdeveloped countries, there is huge gap. These advanced countries will continue to dominate and rule over the entire politics around the world, whereas underdeveloped countries, being the less advanced, they do not get much importance over here. So here again, Marxism says that the rich countries or the powerful countries or the big countries, they always tries to control and dominate over the underdeveloped or developing countries. Got the point? So this class struggle is seen in international relations as well, where you have rich countries and poor countries. The way we have rich people and poor people in domestic societies, same way you have rich countries and poor countries in international politics as well. Okay, and this does what? This gives rise to something called dependency and underdevelopment in the global periphery. It means what? Production has to be there in society, economic development has to be there in society. So in a way, dependency is created amongst and between the states. Okay, for that you have to understand that three layers are there when it comes to states or the governments. First is core countries, then you have something called semi peripheral country, and last is peripheral countries. So here the core nations are those who are completely advanced, okay, economically progressive and militarily powerful, right? And most modern states, they will be falling under the core category of the nations, right? They will be called as the core of the international system. Again, you will have semi peripheral nations which are just after the core, and then you have peripheral nations. Okay, so in a way what we are trying to discuss here is that these core countries are depending upon semi peripheral countries and peripheral for raw material. Raw material again goes to the core. Okay, so in a way what is happening over here, the rich countries are trying to import natural resources from the peripheral countries. That is, peripheral is what? Poor countries. Here you can understand that core countries are those which are rich in nature, and peripheral countries are those which are poor in nature. Okay, so core countries are always there in every, so we can say core countries are always there in international politics. The one who are economically, you can say, developed, right? Those countries are seen here as well. And what these countries are doing, these countries are just simply trying to can say depend on, okay, these core countries are trying to depend on the semi peripheral and peripheral countries for the resources, natural resources. Okay. And in return, these peripheral and semi peripheral countries are depending on core countries for the furnished, or we can say processed goods. For instance, let's have computers or latest mobile phones or semiconductors. Just imagine, developing countries do not have this technology. Okay, developing countries are not in a position to produce all these things in competitive markets. You can take all the, you can say, one laptop companies or mobile companies, for instance, Samsung or MI, or we can say iPhone, right? Or Nokia, for instance. So what is happening over here? All these companies are belonging to the advanced and developed countries, right? These are the developed countries. One second. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that whatever manufacturing you see, whether you are using, we can say, whether you are using laptop, computer, television, or mobile phone, or anything for that matter, even cars, for example, Mercedes or BMW or Hyundai, Toyota, you take any one of them, and you will come to know that most of these companies belongs to the developed countries, right? So what we are doing here, the developing countries or the underdeveloped countries are dependent on developed countries for importing various goods and services, right? We are importing all these things from the developed countries. And what developed countries are giving, we can say developing countries or underdeveloped countries are giving in return, natural resources. We are giving natural resources to the most advanced nations. They are processing on it, and after processing, they are just, can say, selling it back to the underdeveloped countries. Okay. And dependency theory of Marxism talks about the way developed countries are progressing. Okay. And following that, developing countries or underdeveloped countries, they are also trying to match with the advanced countries. Okay. But the reality is that developing countries are running behind the advanced countries to reach to that level. However, these advanced countries are also running ahead, and in this case, it is very difficult to match those, I can say, most advanced countries. So here you can understand that dependency theory is talking about how these backward or underdeveloped countries are trying to match the level of developed countries. But on the other hand, these developed countries are running ahead when it comes to uh, any kind of progress. Even today, you can just imagine that countries like India or any other developing country, what they are doing, they are trying to manufacturing, they are trying to manufacture something called semiconductor. Okay, and this is something complex technology which is not feasible for everyone, but of course it is practicable, it is possible to adopt and implement. Okay. So what is happening now? At present, whatever semiconductors which we are having today, most of them are imported from Taiwan. Okay. Taiwan is the leading country in terms of semiconductors. So they are doing research on those semiconductors and they are trying to reduce the size of those semiconductors so that they will always keep themselves updated. Whereas other countries where they are trying to reach to that advanced countries level, they are trying to do it, but it is becoming highly difficult for them. Okay, so that's something about, you can say, dependency theory. So now I hope you understood how Marxism is looking at international politics from Marxist point of view. Okay, and here Marxism is saying that it's all about class dynamics which is shaping international relations. Class dynamics means what? Rich countries and poor countries. So Karl Marx is saying that, or I can say even a neo-Marxist, their approach is that the way rich people exploit poor people in any country, same way rich countries or the most advanced countries, they also exploit the poor countries or underdeveloped countries. Okay, so that is the idea of class dynamics. Again, Marxism accuses multinational corporations, okay, MNCs, for the exploitation of the developing countries or underdeveloped countries. Just for instance, let's assume Amazon. Okay. Any one name shall not be taken, but just for understanding, let's take Amazon. Okay. Or any big company which is internationally known. So therefore, I'm taking the example of Amazon. Initially, when Amazon was not existing, all people were buying the goods from general stores, right? Whatever store that can be, whether it is kirana store or medical or any sports shop or hardware shop, whatever it could be. People were purchasing everything in offline mode. But after the advent of Amazon, right, now what people are doing? Slowly and steadily, people are shifting from offline purchasing to online purchasing. When we are doing it, what exactly we are doing here? We are trying to buy these goods from Amazon. At the same time, we are giving business to these big companies so that they will earn more and more income. And on the other hand, small shop owners will lose their jobs because now nobody is going to those small shops to buy something because something is available online on a very cheaper cost than any general store, isn't it? So when we are doing it, what exactly we are doing here? We are, you know, taking away the jobs of thousands of people. Initially, thousands of people were surviving by getting the profit at every kirana store or general store. But now government, or can say that company and even people are moving online, and therefore everything is purchased online nowadays. And when you purchase online, what we do? Simply, um, these small businessmen, they are getting unemployed they are becoming poor. So here again you can see that these people are becoming more and more poorer now because they will lose their job and employment. On the other hand, Amazon company will be rich. It will earn more and more money, and it will become more rich and richer. Correct. So this is the best example to make you understand how MNCs, multinational companies, are systematically used to exploit the poor countries or developing countries. All right. Then, when it comes to resources globally, resources are distributed unequally, right? For instance, India do not have sufficient amount of oil and gas. So what we do is we import it from the Gulf countries, other countries, right? So here you can see that oil is there with those countries, but in India we do not have the oil, correct? In few countries you will find sufficient amount of water, but in few countries you won't have that also, correct? So what these things shows that resources are distributed unequally, and many countries are there who actually want this unequalness to be continued. And even if any other country is there who is naturally strong enough, then in this case rich countries will always try to keep maximum resources with them, maximum power with them. Okay, with the help of global organizations, these rich countries always ensure that there will be dominance of advanced countries and the developed countries, so that power and resources will always remain with the capitalist class, rich class. Here in this aspect, Marxism also shed light on inequality, how the inequality is arising day by day. Because if the gap between rich and poor is increasing every day, so definitely the inequality will arise. Globalization is also something which is needed to be tested, because through globalization, if anyone is highly benefited, so it is capitalist and we can say liberal ideologies, right? So therefore it is required. So neoliberalism is also something which is also needed to be examined, and we have witnessed that liberalism is also trying to function in favor of capitalist classes. Because capitalism is what? Capitalism is nothing but economic aspect of liberalism, right? And because of that, Marxist ideology targets inequality, globalization, and neoliberalism as well. Okay, so this is something important to be understood. After this, we have one more aspect or one more approach in IR called as feminist approach. Okay, feminist approach is also essential one. So here now we have to look from the different lens. At present, we were looking through the Marxist lens. Now we have to discuss and understand through the feminist idea, feminist approach. What this approach says. Patriarchy, which is existing in every society, almost every society. Okay, they says that Patriarchy is based on gender hierarchies. Okay, patriarchy is existing on gender hierarchies. In a way, what we can say that discrimination is done on the basis of gender. Males are given more and more powers, more and more authorities, right? So here, gender is affecting globalization. Gender is affecting globalization in the sense male dominated societies are affecting the procedure of globalization, and even the ideas are also globalized nowadays. Correct. So when you have ideas which are globalized only on the basis of gender, wherein male member is given more importance, male is kept in the center, and females are treated secondary or subordinate by society. So here again we have to explore economic, political, and cultural dimension of the feminist approach. Right. So economic approach is what? Where feminists believed that financing is one of the most important thing, and these all finances are controlled by the male society till now. Correct. Males are controlling all these, we can say, economic institutions. Not only that, even political institutions are also controlled by male. For example, parliament or even government and judiciary. And out of this, if you try to understand how the males are dominating over here, you will come to know that when it comes to richest people, you will find maximum amount of people belonging to the male category or male idea. Okay. Secondly, when it comes to policy making or law making, most of the politicians belongs to the male community, right? Even if you take, you can say the prime minister and important cabinet ministers of any country, you will come to know that the membership of female is significantly less than the membership of male, right? If you want to take the example of India, we have only 15% women's lawmakers in our parliament. Only 15% people are women, and rest can say almost 85% population belongs to the male society in parliament. So this is again one of the criticism of feminist approach. They says that these all things are always being controlled by the male societies, and that is why all these problems are arising, and hence women's are also supposed to be incorporated in decision making bodies. Okay, and then again cultural dimensions are also there. It simply means that there has been a culture in India or any country for that matter where you believe that males are superior and females are inferior. This idea has been deep rooted in almost every society across the globe. So, this culture has been followed since decades and centuries, and even today, to large extent, it is being followed. However, slowly and steadily, the scenario is changing, right? However, this change needs to be promoted on a larger scale. So, what we do here is now we promote gender equality in development initiatives. So, whenever new policy is made, a new agenda is made, it is expected that gender equality shall be promoted. Okay, gender, or we can say, when it comes to equality, government has to frame such policies wherein every section of the society shall be presented in the parliament. Okay, and the last one would be contributing to more inclusive and equitable global policies. Feminists always argue that feminist ideas can always contribute to the more inclusive global policies, wherein male and women both shall get equal rights, both will work upon the equality, the principles of equality. They would work upon it, and this way we would approach towards equitable global policies so that egalitarian society could be realized. Okay, so in a way, feminists are talking nothing but bringing equality in the society. It's not about only women's rights and neglecting men. Feminist, the word feminist itself means equal respect and equal treatment for both men and women. Okay, that is the major task of this ideology called as feminism. Okay, so this is something which we have discussed so far. And when it comes to development and growth, we have discussed previously that growth cannot be realized without women. Women are essential element of this society, right? And we have to take every woman along with us on the lines of development. Okay, and that's why feminist approach tries to promote feminism in international relations. Okay, so now let's take question answers. I'm done with my presentation, and if you have any query or question, now it is open for discussion. Any one of you can just ask the question which you have. Yes, yes, Bhaskar.
When you were explaining to us about the feminist theory,
Hmm.
in contemporary scenarios, we have started to see many females and women coming up as world leaders. Even India had a woman prime minister, Indira Gandhi,
Hmm.
and even many world nowadays women are coming to higher echelons of political power in Europe and many other countries.
Yes.
But sir, we still see that the women's position on a global level is still very downward, and and the objectification of women, especially during wartime, which I don't think I need to explain it. So, sir, what does feminist theory say about how to resolve these global issues? Because women have started to come to power, but still women's position on a global level is very in a deplorable manner.
Yes, right. That is true. But the thing is only what, whenever the women's are getting into power in capacity of prime minister or president or any minister for that matter, they are always trying to bring, we can say, favorable policies for women's. However, it depends on how these policies are implemented, because ultimately it's not only about, we can say, framing the policies, it is also about implementation of that policy. So in a way, who is implementing? It is bureaucracy, right, and the government. So bureaucracy also has to be women centric, isn't it? Women are also supposed to be given equal importance by the bureaucracy as well. But that is also somewhere again lacking behind. And when it comes to Prime Minister like Indira Gandhi, you can just imagine, have we really, we can say, elected our women to a large scale? Because Indira Gandhi was anyway, we can say, getting the heritage of her father, Nehruji, right? And because of that, she could became the first women Prime Minister of India. Otherwise, she was not directly elected. So again, it shows the mindset of the people. However, on the other hand, later on she contested elections and she won also, because she had proven her ability in previous government, and that is why people could trust on her. But just imagine that since independence till today, how many female prime minister we have had? Only one, isn't it? So only Indira Gandhi. What after that? What before that? We did not have any prime minister. Of course, we have had president, but we all know that how many powers we have given to the president. President is a symbolic head of the nation, right? Real head
Yes.
is someone else. But intentionally, what we are doing, we are giving, we can say, decorated positions to the women's, and we are intentionally not giving powerful positions to them. Okay, this is also something, we can say, ironic, which is not good for the nation. Right. So when it comes to egalitarian society or equitable society, women must be empowered, right, on a global platform. But slowly and steadily, yes, it is happening. You can take many European countries, as you correctly said, Bhaskar. Many European countries now, they are coming up with the women-led governments, where women are becoming presidents and prime ministers, and they are holding powerful positions. So the journey has been started, we can say. It will definitely take some time, but the journey has begun, and eventually, we can say, today or tomorrow, or we never know how many days it will take. But yes, somewhere, as you can see that in India also, the Parliament of India has passed um, Nari Vandan, right, Yojana, where women will get 33% reserved seats in Lok Sabha, and all the, we can say, Vidhan Sabhas, all the state legislatures, in the way, Parliament and all the state legislatures, everywhere women will get 33% reserved seats. So this is also a good initiative, and the change is supposed to be taken in such way only, because change is always, we can say, that change is better which takes place very slowly, which is good thing. If you are trying to change everything overnight, so it won't sustain longer. So hopefully, let us uh, see the future, and definitely future will be bright in this case.
Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Yes. Chalo, I guess if nobody has any other question, then we will wind up the session for today. And again, see you all tomorrow. Thank you. Take care.